I stand before you on this evening, recruited from a long retirement, to showcase and present to you a legendary build by Wheelin Dylan. I never did post a video of it on the channel whenever he bought it, but he ended up buying an old 250R that he found from somewhere. Didn't even find it on Marketplace or nothing. I'll let him tell you all the story in a little bit, but anyway, a little over a year and a half ago, he bought that four-wheeler and decided he was going to completely redo everything. And he just got it done today. Before I reveal the 250R, I want to show y'all what it looked like before he actually started on it. Right there's what it looked like when he just unloaded it from the truck, and that's what it looked like when they got the plastics took off. It's pretty rough looking, but this video is pretty interesting. That's what he actually had to go through to get the 250R out. He'll tell the story in just a minute, so here's the reveal. And right there it is.
Alright guys, so the story on this one goes, I work for a Honda dealership, and there was a guy, older guy, that come in looking for a carburetor for an 04 400EX. And he said, can't get 9904. He said, I'd like to find one. I just think y'all had a new old stock. I said, I don't, but I know what'll fix your problem. He said, what's that? I said, I'll just buy it from you. So he kind of laughed. We exchanged numbers, and he said he would holler at me when he got ready to sell it. So I never heard from him. The guy told me he had a 250R, an XR500, and some other stuff, and so I was tore all to pieces as soon as I heard 250R. I said, I gotta get this guy's house. So we exchanged numbers. I never heard from him. About a month and a half, 2 months went by, and I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru at E-Town where I work, and was just scrolling through Marketplace, and there was this mint 04 400EX, and it was posted for like $6,800, but it looked brand new. So I started messaging the woman. It was his wife, come find out that had it posted, but I started messaging them, finally got them down, got a phone number, called, put two and two together that it was the same guy that I talked to at work. So I went up there. Luckily I had some money with me that day. I went up there to look at them. Got there, looked at the 400. It was just as good as it looks, if not better in pictures. And I said, I want to know about this 250R you've got. And he said, you really want to see it? And I said, yeah. I said, I'd like to see it. Because I didn't know. You know, 400EX was mint. And he told me he bought the 250R when it was a week old. So I thought, you know, this thing could be mint. Like, I don't know. So anyway, he said, you don't care to get dirty, do you? And I said, no. So we go back there. And he literally has this thing in the back of a bread truck. In between a bunch of semi-trailers and other junk. We had to crawl underneath two trailers, squeeze in between two, and then there's this bread truck rear end. And he has it padlocked, and he opens it up, and I look, and there the 250R is sitting up against the wall of that bread truck. And I immediately just lost it. Like, I just got tore all to pieces. I was like, I've got to get this thing bought, because it's just going to sit here and rot. The plastic was literally... Here's what's left of the rear plastic.
Not much, huh?
It was literally just rotted. It was rotting off of it. But it was all original. Original tires still on it.
Take a look at them right there, yeah.
Still got quite a bit of tread on the front tires. Now the rears are pretty wore, but...
Yeah. See it there.
So anyway, he didn't want to sell it. And we finally done some negotiating on the 400, and I brought the 250R into the mix. I said, I need them both. You know, don't care to pay for them, but I need them both. And what it ended up working out, I give $1,850 for the 250R, and I gave $5,500 for the 400EX, and he threw in a brand new 05 and up 400EX carb, which I sold for $150. So it was $7,500 for both of them. I sold the 400 for $55, got my money back, sold the carb for $150. Ended up with $1,850 in this. And then from there, it just went way up from there.
You've just been in the hole since then.
Yeah. And then the next day, me and Lando went and picked it up, and he can tell you a little bit about that. What'd you think about it, Lando?
Well, to be honest with you, I just never seen nothing like it before. Just going into a place like that, dude had it wasn't just four-wheelers. He had everything, old cars and And of course, he had that XR 500, I believe it was, sitting out there, and he this stuff just sitting inside buildings, just sitting there doing nothing. And then I seen this foiler, I was like, holy smokes! And of course, that old bike was right next to it.
Yeah.
And it looked like it had been the same situation as that 250R. I mean,
we drug it out through the man door on the side of that bread truck, and that's the way he put it in there. The back was all bombarded up, and he put it in through the man door. It's the way we took it out. Of course, we wasn't really worried about breaking nothing because it was roached. It was shot.
Yeah, it was done past that point.
But we didn't know until we got home, started tearing it down, that not only had the thing been wrecked, as you can see by the A-arm up here.
Yeah, we'll take a gander.
It's a little bent, you know, caused a little bit of damage. Not only had it been wrecked, this foiler had been on fire.
You see that there? It had melted in wires.
Melted, and it actually had scorched part of the front plastic that I don't have anymore. But and it had been took on water. Story was he was riding it on the farm, hit a big water hole. It took on water, shut it down. He brought it back, started trying to tinker with it a little bit, and it caught fire. And ever since that day, he put it in that bread truck. It had been in there 25 plus years. He knew at least 25 years. So. And we didn't get it till 2021, so I would put it'd been sitting at least since 96, so.
Been in there quite a while.
Yeah.
Just seen nothing but darkness all them years. It had lived a short-lived life, but we brought it back out, and
so
Dylan brought that back.
When it was a week old, from the guy that bought it new. He was from, where was it, Landon, Maine?
Maine, it was in Maine, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He was from Maine, and him and his best friend wanted some new rides. And he actually bought an 85 Odyssey. Well, his buddy bought this 87 250R, brand new. A week after owning it is when he wrecked it and done the damage. Threw him off, whatever it done, broke his arm, couldn't ride it. Still wanted to ride, so Randy was the gentleman I purchased this off of. They traded even, the Odyssey for the 250R, and he's had it ever since then. But that's how he got it. It was originally from Maine, bought new in Maine. I've got the owner's manual for it, a title, all the goods. You
got all kinds of paperwork on it, I reckon. There was, I believe he did have a bunch of paperwork for this, but like that 400 as well, he had like every single piece of paperwork for it.
Here's all the receipts from the bill.
That's a nice little pocketbook you got there. So Wheelin Dylan's had this posted on TikTok, of course. If you have TikTok, hit him up on there, Wheelin Dylan. I'll leave a link or his username in the description for that. But a lot of people's been asking why he did an aftermarket build on this instead of going just restoring it back to OEM like how it was when he bought it. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I thought about it when I first bought it, and really it depended on a lot of things. Like I said, I didn't know the engine was as bad as it was until we started taking it apart. If the engine would have started and ran, I probably would have done something like that, but it's like I told everybody else, I can buy one that's all OEM. I've had them. I can buy one that's close, or I can buy one that's exactly OEM. I can buy that. I can't buy this. You have to build this. Illusion Purple, which is the color of the frame and beadlock rings, is one of my favorite colors, and of course black. I like black, and I had this vision in my head of a black and purple 250R, and that's what I wanted. And of course the story on this one's priceless, and it's not for sale, so don't even ask. It's not going anywhere.
He's done been made offers, by the way.
I've done been made some pretty strong offers, but like it's not for sale. It's not going anywhere. So the story alone to me is priceless of saving this 250R practically. That's basically what we done, because it was rotting away and going to continue to rot.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
But no, like I said, from there, I just kind of decided to go full blown with it, piece by piece. I'd order a little bit here and there when I could, and then just kind of put it together from there. So the thing, of course, we stripped it down to the bare frame. Seen it was going to need wire harness, of course. My dad, Doc, from BVC Offroad, he checked the engine out. You know, we seen that it took on water. I knew it was at least going to be freshened up. And I just kind of took it from there, decided, you know, hey, I may not be able to afford it real quick, but over a course of time, I'm gonna have this thing the way I want it. So we just kind of went from there with it. Took the frame, had it gusseted and repowdered, sandblasted of course, repowdered illusion purple at Cox Stuntparts in Litchfield, Kentucky. He done the hubs, the beadlock rings, swing arm, frame, trying to think of anything else. All your little accents up here on the bars, the ODI rings, all your perch mounts, throttle housing. Done all that powder coating for me. Then from there, started ordering A-arms, stuff like that. Those are Lone Star +2+1 Sport A-arms. Ordered those from ATV Galaxy off eBay. They had them in stock, got them within a week. Very competitive pricing. So I got all that ordered. And then from there, I started ordering axles, all the rear end components. I found the swinger on TRX Owners for Life. Can't remember the guy's name, but got a pretty good deal on it. It was white, repowdered it black. That is a Lone Star standard link swing arm. And of course, I put the Pro Link graphics on it. So that pretty much got me, you know, bare bones started. I ordered my factory 43 Nerf bars. Of course, I got to support the good old guys at BVC. So they're actually the ones who made the gusset kit for the frame and the rotor guard, or the sprocket guard rather. The rotor guard is Hess Motorsports. They make a really solid rotor guard for them. And I'm trying to think what I've done next. Oh, I took the motor to BDR Powersports in Mumfordville, Kentucky. I ordered what parts I could, Honda OEM, which a lot of parts for these are discontinued already. Some of them you can get, some of them you can't. So I ordered what I could, which was all OEM bearings, crank seals, bushings, what engine bolts I could get. I went with a ProX piston because I couldn't get a Wiseco. Had it bored to 66.5 millimeter, which was next size up. The engine had never been apart on this thing. The top end bolts and top end never been apart. Nothing had been touched on this before I got it. And of course, Toczko's powder coating in Upton, Kentucky, done the powder coating on the engine. Brandon had that done for me. I told him I wanted mirror finish, and he knocked it out of the park. If you need any powder coating done, either one of the guys I mentioned, both do awesome jobs with it. Went to Southern Kentucky Motorsports in Mumfordville, Kentucky, ARSFX. They had the jig for PRM Summits. I actually own PRM now. That bumper was just sitting in there on a 250R that he owns. Ended up striking a deal for it and bought it. He also is who I got my DWT beadlocks from. The wheels and the tires, I got it, Dan Powers Honda, where I work, Whole Shot XC. The only reason I wanted these tires, and it's bad because they're so high, but this yellow writing, it's the only reason I wanted them. I don't even like Whole Shots, but I wanted that yellow writing. I just think it adds something to it. So.
That is
and
pretty
all
neat.
the little odd and end stuff I ordered through work, like your A-arm brake line clamps, the streamlined brake lines, carbon fiber braided. I ordered all the Lone Star axle. This is the +4 -2 axle, so you can make it, right now it's as wide as it can be. And it's got the hub here, of course the anti-lock or anti-fade nut. Lone Star park and brake block off.
Them are pretty handy if you have a park brake on like a 400 or anything that don't work. Them plates, they get all that junk out of the way. It just makes it look neater and gets that junk out of your way whenever you're trying to mess with something down there.
And I ordered the Durblue. I believe that's the brand it was, Durblue. Adjustable linkage. So basically I can adjust this full just off that linkage as far as the rear suspension goes.
Well, that's pretty interesting there.
Ordered a new repop coolant overflow tank off eBay. Had some buddies hook me up with that. Tell me about a guy that makes repop ones. They look just like the OEM ones for anybody that's done an OEM build. Found the AC rear grab bar on eBay. I love the XC style rear grab bar. Or maybe it's not XC style, but I like where you can grab it and get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Move it. So.
Definitely understand that.
I originally had Works triple rate front shocks I'd bought that had been redone, and I even went as far as getting them repowdered. The springs were purple. I was going to put on the front, and I actually had them on for a little bit, and I originally wanted Elkas and decided not to go cheap with it, so I just ordered a full new set of Elkas. I got those from ATV Galaxy. They came set up for my weight and everything, type of riding I do, straight out of the box. Had them within 5 days. So pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is fairly impressive.
And that was my hold up for a long time with suspension. I was waiting on my suspension to be redone, and it was taking a while. So, and of course, all my brake calipers, carburetor, all that's been repolished or been polished and rebuilt.
Now they were original.
Those are OEM brake calipers.
Like
those were on the four-wheeler. Those calipers hadn't been used until last week for 25 plus years.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with how them turned out. I honestly thought you got new ones, so to hear them was the original ones was fairly impressive on that end.
The pipe came off of another 87 250R that I bought that was close to OEM, and it came with the original pipe. So, or actually I used the original pipe off of this. So I put the original pipe on that one and pulled the CT off of it and kept it for this build. So that's how I got the exhaust. The graphics were made, let me get you the guy's name.
The graphics set it off. I'll throw a picture in there of what it looked like before. It still looks sharp, but whenever you slap these graphics on there, it just set it off completely.
Let me get your all's guy's name. Pete McCloud on Facebook is your go-to on 250R OEM repop graphics. He done a killer job on them. Couldn't ask for a better transaction. It's only like $100 some. So, and that was for everything. I've got decals that I ain't even put on here yet, and probably won't, but he got everything. All the Pro Link, the 250R, HRC stickers I put on here.
Yeah, I like them. Them look pretty good there.
Those are also off a guy on the forums on Facebook. I can't think of his name, but I think it's Brian Marion. Makes the radiator shrouds. Of course, a new aluminum radiator, just went cheap, got the one off eBay. Talked to some people on it, they said it's just as good as a high dollar one, just keep your fins clean. So, and this thing probably won't see the trails very much, so.
Yeah, I'd honestly be scared to ride it, but.
Got a Lone Star steering stem on it, ordered that through work with the anti-vibe in it. Got flex bars, got those from BDR Powersports in Mumfordville, Kentucky. Same guy that done the engine and finished the build, finished putting it together for me. ASV levers off eBay. I think those are like 140 bucks. Got the PowerMad Centennial handguards.
Yeah, I have some of them on the 400
yeah,
there.
They're hard to beat. Of course, ODI lock-ons. I've got a Nax master cylinder cover. I don't know how I ended up with this, but it was still new in the package, and I was like, that's going on there. So it's the only thing Nax on here, but I love it. So that is actually a new 450R TRX front master cylinder. Put that on there. Of course, Pro Armor kill switch, Alba gas cap, all new Meyer plastics, Meyer gas tank cover, Meyer hood. I talked to the guys at FourWerx. I was wanting to do a purple weave carbon fiber because I've seen blue, red, green. They couldn't do it. I was really hoping they could because I think that would have been killer, but it all works out. They did do my seat cover for me. Put Wheelin Dylan on there, my favorite number, 23. So
His race number.
Guy installed the seat cover on it.
About everybody. There's always somebody that played a part in this build right here.
Yeah, I tried to use a lot of local people, shops, it's whatever I could, you know. Like I said, a lot of it I had to order from ATV Galaxy, but a lot of it I kept it local too. And some guys off the Facebook forums. Michael DiNardo from New York, he really helped me on some stuff.
So with this being an aftermarket build, for the most part, what all on this four-wheeler is stock? That's like, what is the only original parts that's on this four-wheeler?
The original parts that's left on this thing, now keep in mind they've all been touched. So they've all, even if they are original, they have been redone, other than the gas tank. The gas tank, I just flushed it, cleaned it, put a new fuel filter up in it, new petcock. I could still get those OEM. But it's still the factory blue gas tank underneath here, so.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. And then, of course, I use the factory hubs, factory knuckles, of course, repowdered and everything, redone. It's factory frame, of course, but it has been regusted, repowdered. Of course, I use the factory engine that came in the four-wheeler. Every nut and bolt on it is brand new, minus maybe 2 or 3 odd end bolts that I either could not find or was good enough to use still. So all the internals are brand new. And then, other than that, of course, the calipers, like we said earlier, they're just rebuilt, refinished. They're our factory. Other than that, I think that's it. I went Renthal sprockets on it. The shifter and the kicker's original. They're just repowdered, redone. New rubber on the shifter. But just a lot of sourcing parts. Even though with something like this, even though I got a whole four-wheeler, I didn't have a whole four-wheeler to work with. There was one motor mount bolt that I could not find, couldn't get. Couldn't get it through Honda, new OEM. It was discontinued. It was the only engine bolt that's discontinued. Couldn't find it on eBay. Couldn't find it on the forums. And that's where my buddy Michael from New York come in hand. He sent it to me and didn't charge me anything for it. So appreciate him for that. And appreciate everybody. Everybody's had a part in it. And my dad's worked on it. Like I said, Brandon Riggs up at Mumfordville worked on it a lot. Shoot, me and Lando, we tore it down, and there's just a bunch of people that's messed with it or played some kind of part in getting it to where it's at right now.
And he greatly appreciates all that, because it's been a long and bumpy road getting it to this point. Just I hate seeing it. I hate to see it get dirty myself, and I ain't even the one that sunk all the money into it.
Yeah, I've seen guys on Facebook talking about it taking 2 years to do a build on one of these, and I just thought, man, they're crazy. And time gets away from you. I'll just tell you, like, time gets away from you.
Very true.
I bought this May 7th, 2021, and pretty much within the next few days after that, started messing with it. And it's set for long periods of time, for a month or two at a time, and not being touched, but still, it took us like 1.5 years, so.
I mean, not too bad compared to the circumstances, but it's just one of them things that you got to do what you got to do, and you can't do it till you can. So.
And down here, I went with a Moose Poly case saver. Anybody that rides, get you a good case saver. The cases on this thing was absolutely flawless. Don't want to ride it and chance it. There's no sense in it. And on the swing arm bearings, I've done away with the bearings. They're actually a bushing, like a nylon bushing that's new. Does away with all the bearings, so that makes that a lot easier. And then I put a purple chain. I found a purple chain.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all noticed that before, but yeah, if you look in there and you can see get some light, yeah. Look at that.
It's got wax on it, but you can see.
Yeah.
It's purple. So I was more tickled to find that chain than just about anything for this four-wheeler.
That is pretty neat. I hadn't seen that before.
And I did use original airbox and snorkel. That is factory. Now it does have a custom lid on it to take in some more air. And what new parts I could. All your intake boot rings and stuff like that's new. I did have to use the intake boot still. So, but all the lines, everything's new. It's got Barnett clutch basket in it. I think EBC clutches. All new clutch cable, and the throttle cable is actually OEM. I could not find a good aftermarket throttle cable that I liked, and my OEM one's still good, so I used it. I mean, it's not perfect, but it works good and it don't look too bad, so.
I think it looks fine to me. Can't beat it. Everything looks good though. Like, I really enjoy the way this four-wheeler turned out.
I'm trying to look at it and see. V-Force 3 reeds, I put those in there. Like I said, it's 66.5mm bore, so it had never been bored, so I didn't want to go to, something ignorant on it. I'm going to make the motor last. Whether I ride it or not, I plan on it staying in the family, so there's no sense in overboring it for nothing,
I agree with that. Definitely, for sure. Don't want to You ain't gonna be thrashing it out or nothing, or I hope not anyway. I hope
I
you
don't plan on it unless I get a wild hair. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I could decide to get wild on it one day, but I doubt it.
You think it'd run very good compared to the other R's you've had?
Just by riding around in the driveway, I think it'll actually run really good. But it still needs to be broke in, so I ain't doing nothing crazy with it. We'll start it here in a few minutes and let y'all hear it, but sounds good. Seems like it's gonna run good. But also it's kind of turned off in the winter here in Kentucky, so I'm gonna wait till summertime and it gets warm. Probably have to do a little bit of rejetting and stuff like that, but I think it'll run pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see more on that later, hopefully, as far as riding wise. I don't know if we'll do too much riding on it, but maybe a little bit of running, and you know, it probably won't be completely broke in till sometime during the summer, but that's something to look forward to. We'll see on that.
And I had this frame sticker made. There's a guy on Facebook called Wheelin Graphics.
That's hard to get in there, but there
he
you go.
Redoes the factory graphics, like as far as the date codes and everything that was produced. So basically, I sent him a picture of the factory one on it, and he just remade it.
I didn't know those people had done
OEM
that.
guys, you know, that's wanting to have that done. So
Another neat little feature on there. I didn't know people done that, so I thought that was pretty cool and pretty sweet that they had that done for it. I know this is going to be a highly asked question, as it has been on your TikTok and everywhere else. Just exactly how much have you got in this thing, Wheelin Dylan?
I went through it earlier, counting what I've got in the four-wheeler to start with, and every penny that I've got receipts for and can think of. It totals up to $16,288.48. So it's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
But you know, it's what I wanted. So but other
true.
than that, we'll fire it up here, let y'all hear it. And it's cold. I ain't had it running prior, so.
Wow. As an owner of multiple two-stroke bikes, I do agree. I can't stand when they don't idle, and I think they just need to anyway. Whether it's barely or not, I think they need to.
That's a wrap.
And lastly, keep sending.